Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. I am Stylosa, and this is more Overwatch content. So, the Overwatch beta weekend has just gone down, and yeah, there's been some interesting discussions I've been seeing across the internet, especially in certain places like the Overwatch Reddit and the official beta feedback forums for Overwatch.
I've played the beta for a few hours and I fully understand this complex game. Fucking Bastion's OP, defense is too easy, the game is unbalanced, Trace is OP.
Guy from Reddit. You see, the thing is, guys, I've played the game for, I've played it for over 100 hours now, easy, okay? I've had access for over a month. Well, not over a month, it's pretty close to a month. I think it was the 27th I got access last month. And I'm only beginning to understand some of the complexities this game has to offer. You've got to understand the game is quite complicated. So after you've played the game for a few hours, you can't really provide any kind of feedback, especially on things like balance in a game which is, well, it's designed around switching your heroes around, which most people don't seem to understand because they want to play the same hero all game. The game's not designed for that. Oh dear. I'm killing everyone. I'm playing so good. My team is crap. Guy from the official forums. You see, like I just said, Overwatch is a team. I said team. Do you understand this team-based game? It's not some 1v1 come at me bro game. It's a team game where 6 players, they have to work together to counter what the enemy team are doing. You've got to counter their tactics, you've got to counter their team composition, and the way you do this is by altering your team composition and your tactics to complement your new characters you've just picked to counter what they're picking, and you can see how it's very complicated, especially if you don't understand what counters what, or you don't understand who is good against who, because sometimes it's not abundantly clear that, say, although this should be clear, that Tracer is extremely good at killing Bastion, especially if Bastion is in his defensive mode, or Tracer is very good at sniping people dead quick, jumping in, dropping a pulse bomb down, which is her ultimate, rewinding time and getting out of there. She can take out key members of the enemy's defense, so taking out, let's say, a Mercy or a Lucio, or putting heavy damage onto a tank, or blowing up a Bastion, although I've got to say, at my level of game, you won't be seeing Bastions. But I'll get onto Bastion in a minute, and especially Torb, because I've been seeing some absolutely crazy stuff about those guys. Overwatch isn't a game about getting 39 eliminations with Widowmaker, and then moaning at the end because you've lost. Oh my god, I don't believe it. We've lost the game, but I've got 39 kills. How can this be? Well, the game isn't about kills. In fact, the kill-death ratio is pretty much irrelevant for almost every hero. You could say for some it kind of makes sense, because if you are a damage hero, you probably would want to see how many people you've killed, how many times you haven't died, and all of that stuff. But the game's about playing the objective. It doesn't matter if you're Widowmaker sitting in the corner sniping people, or sniping a couple of people as they run back from their spawn, or getting lucky shots on people or whatever. If you're not doing anything to advance the game, if you're just sitting there and camping, well, the other team are actually winning, even though you're killing them because you're not pushing forward with your team. So maybe you shouldn't play Widowmaker in that example. This is the mindset people need to get their mind into, because they don't, and they're too stuck in this whole, oh, I've been playing Counter-Strike, or I've been playing some other game where it all depends on kills. If I get the most kills, then yes, I'm the best player. You're not. You're just flat out not in Overwatch. So let's talk about Torbjorn and Bastion, because they're OP. So let me just put my voice on again. Torbjorn and Bastion are OP. A guy from the internet. So yeah, they're not. Blizzard have even said Torbjorn and Bastion are terrible and need to be fixed. What we're getting here is the same sort of thing I experienced when I first played the game for a couple of hours, where you think, oh my god, Bastion is ridiculously OP, because you can't kill him, because you don't understand how to kill him. That's the thing. Problem with Bastion and Torbjorn is they are static and easily countered, because almost all heroes in the game have got pretty good movement, and there are ones, like I just said, Tracer, which who are specifically designed just to take out Bastion, and you can mess Bastion up. I mean, let's just talk about how you deal with Bastion, right? So D.Va can kill Bastion. You just jump up to him, and then you're behind him, and then you shoot him. If he's in a corner, you jump onto his head, and then you shoot him. He can't kill you before you get in on top of him. Same applies to Torbjorn's turret. With D.Va, you can just drive up to Torbjorn and his turret and kill both of them, even when the turret is shooting you. It makes no difference. So maybe if you were playing Widowmaker, in fact Widowmaker would be okay against them in some degree, but if you were playing like, I don't know, Reinhardt or something, or somebody who's maybe not as good against those kind of Bastions in place in Torbjorn's turret, maybe switch out to D.Va. Junkrat can counter both of them because Junkrat drops bombs. He's like artillery. You can fire bombs all over the place and, well, they can't get you because you can shoot them without having line of sight, which they need line of sight to function. Pharah is very good because she fires rockets that, guess what, guys, explode, so do a lot of damage to these things that are just sitting there doing nothing. And as I said, Tracer will wreck them. And there's loads of other heroes that will be effective against them as well. It's just understanding the game and understanding how to deal with them. I mean, a Winston would be effective against a Bastion because you could just jump straight over Bastion and kill him. Or jump on top of him and kill him. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh. A Xayah would be effective against both. If she's got a shield on, she runs in and just kills them. It's like, ooh, especially if a shield was powered up, but then maybe you don't understand how a shield mechanic works. Can you see what I'm getting at, guys? Ooh, it makes me angry. I mean, and Blizzard have even said Torbjorn and Bastion are terrible and they need to be fixed because you do not see them any kind of high-level play beyond the first couple of hours, which I'm afraid most people have only played the first couple of hours because they've only just had access to the game in the beta weekend. But all the crap I've been seeing on the internet about that is just ridiculous to me. It's so crazy. Atrocious team compositions. Now, I don't really want to... Like, I don't want to moan about this too much, but I'd like people to understand that, as I've just said, this is a game about changing your heroes. This is not a game about, I want to play Tracer, so I'm going to play Tracer. But what I'm going to do with Tracer is get involved in frontline combat and die repeatedly and then say Tracer's crap. But I'm not going to change Tracer. For a start, that's not what you do with Tracer. Tracer runs interference. Tracer's like Genji. They can run interference in the back lines. They don't take part in frontline combat. That's stupid. They would just get killed. They don't have much health. They don't have that much damage, really, but they're there for interference, which goes back to my other point about, well, a point that I actually want to get onto, actually, which I'm going to do now, is the kill-death feed. Loads of people have been asking about this. We need a kill-death feed. We need to be able to press tab and bring up the score like we can in Counter-Strike, see how many kills and deaths we've got. The only problem is, that don't make no sense in Overwatch, because there are characters like Widowmaker or Hanzo or any of the damage classes or the snipers, who you could say, okay, they live and breathe on killing people. And if they're killing loads of people and they haven't died a lot themselves, they're probably helping the team. Okay, maybe they are. But how do you quantify Winston pushing the enemy team all out of formation? And then he dies. And Winston's got maybe 10 deaths and 11 eliminations at the end of the game. But because Winston has been messing up the team and forcing them away from points you don't want them near, he's actually caused you to win the game. Not Widowmaker with 20 kills. You see what I'm saying? It's like Tracer. I keep going back to Tracer because people keep talking about Tracer. She runs interference, but how do you quantify that? If she might not get a lot of kills, but if she's constantly in the back line, she's a threat. They need to move back to deal with her. That means they're not on the point, so they're not defending the point. They're not attacking the points, and that is invaluable. But you cannot show that on a kill death feed or on a score screen because it's too difficult. I mean, it's basically impossible to show. So please get that out of your head. The game does not need a kill death feed or you do not need. You just don't need to be able to see it. It just adds nothing to the game. So just jumping back into what I was saying before I went a bit crazy, you need to change your heroes. I don't want to moan about team comps, but what I do want to moan about is guys who won't change their hero because they just don't want to, or they think things are not working, so therefore it's OP. I mean, if there are, and I'm going to use like the low level example again, 2 Bastions sitting on a point and you're trying to jump in there as Tracer and you're getting killed over and over again, well, there's 2 Bastions. You can only attack one of them even if you've got your pulse bomb up. They're probably going to kill you. Maybe change to Pharah, maybe change to Junkrat or something like that, but they don't do that. And they just instead moan that these characters are OP, when, as I've said, Bastion is not OP, and Blizzard have even said he's crap and he's going to get remade. So there you go. So let's have a look at some feedback I found on the official forums, because this is baffling to me, but I suppose it's baffling to me now with my level of experience with the game. But if I was new to the game, I'd maybe agree with these points. In fact, I'd maybe agree with most of the points I've just tackled in this video so far. Alright then, so Zenyatta. Poor Zenyatta. I love playing him when the team needs support, but he goes squish if you breathe too hard on him. I don't think bumping his HP up to 200 would unbalance him in the slightest. Zenyatta is one of the best supports in the game. He does not need a buff because I'm guessing this person's playing Zenyatta on the front line. And he somehow thinks because he can do damage, he can just move out into the front and deal damage. No, you'll get killed. Zenyatta needs to be in the backfield. Zenyatta has an awesome Orb of Discord ability which increases the damage enemies take, and that is insanely good. He has a very good single target heal over time, which is insanely good, and his attack is quite powerful. But Zenyatta is not a frontline hero. Zenyatta is not, he should not even be near the fight. He should be in the backfield providing support. Zenyatta players need to see the whole picture, the big picture, what's going on. They need to be aware of all movements around them. They don't want to be at the front trying to fight Widowmaker or trying to fight Soldier or trying to fight somebody like that, because they will kill them pretty quick. See, most of Zenyatta's health is shield, so it regenerates pretty quick. So if you do take damage, you can just move around the corner and regenerate again, but you're going to die to most burst heroes, so you've got to be aware of that. But Zenyatta is a great hero. He doesn't need changing. But this again just shows you how this initial sort of, oh, well, I played Zenyatta and I think he was okay, but then I died because I kept getting killed. But what was your positioning? I bet my life that this guy was actually in the front of the fight or right next to the tanks, which he doesn't need to be, because Zenyatta's healed, you can cast it and then just go to the side of the map. It makes no difference. It remains on the target you cast it on. So, yeah. And here's another gem. Bastion is completely fine. Seriously, most of them I played against had tunnel vision, easy to get in their blind spot. Now this is an interesting one. Bastion isn't fine because Bastion doesn't do anything and he's not even used in high level games. But you can see how this person's attitude is already changing. So most of them he's played against have tunnel vision apparently. So he probably means that they just sit in the corner. Because Bastion is a very noob-friendly character, and against, like, if you're not too good at FPS games and you pick up Bastion and then you sit on the objective and you're playing against a noob team, you'll get a load of kills and you'll feel really powerful. It's like, wow, look at all these 100 eliminations I've been getting. This is great. But this guy's already saying that he's working out how to deal with them. I mean, he says easy to get in their blind spot, so he understands the value of movement. He understands about getting in there and attacking Bastion from the sides or the back or whatever. So you can see how it is starting to become clear that it's not that good. So I thought that was an interesting one to kind of include, because it's sort of, it's the mid ground between OP and not OP. But saying it's fine is still not right, because it is not fine. So let's talk about one of the maps, because this is pretty funny. So Hanamura can burn in the fiery pits of Hades. Offensive here sucks. That being said, when you're supporting the team with massive heals and a coordinated special assault drop, okay, and you capture that final point, there are fewer more satisfying moments in the game. So the guy says offensive sucks and then explains how you win the game, which to me is pretty ridiculous. So Hanamura on defense or even on attack on the final point is probably my favorite map in the game. There are 3 ways you can get into Hanamura. You can go through into the temple at the end. So let's just say you're attacking, okay? You can run through the front door, which might not be too clever. You can move around the left-hand side, so people with movement can jump over there. You can run in the right-hand side and go up to the top, or run in and go into the left, or you can run through the main doors and go right and go underneath the bottom sort of thing. So there's quite a few ways you can get in. How this can feel like it's unbalanced is when people go in one by one. Because you're walking into an area where there's 5 guys waiting for you, you walk through the door, you die. You walk through the door, you die, and it happens a lot. But what is interesting about this comment, where this person then says, and a coordinated special assault drop. So I'm guessing what he means is like a load of, we all get together and do a proper push as a team, and you capture the final point. There's nothing more satisfying than that, he says. Well, yeah, obviously, because if you get together and wait for your team, and say you've got a Winston, and then you've got like a Lucio, or you might have a Reinhardt as well, because don't worry guys, there's no like limit on tanks. You don't need like just one tank and one support. You can have multiple tanks and multiple supports. You've got to play the game for the situation you're in. So let's just say you get together, Lucio pops his speed, you all rush in, Winston dives into the middle, drops his dome down, so now you're protected from any of the snipers that are above. You start fighting people on the ground, you kill the players around the points, then you can work on the guys who are above and you win the game. That is how you play Overwatch. That is what Overwatch is about. So I just thought this was an interesting comment, because again, it's sort of this, oh, offensive is crap, but actually it's not when you do this. Okay. Here's another one about Bastion again. Bloody Bastion. Bastion might be OP. His shield in sentry mode has too much health. Perhaps it can be lowered. No, Bastion is not OP. I'm not even going to go into this again. Bastion is not OP. Okay, Jesus Christ. Neither is Torbjorn. They're terrible. So just to recap all of this, I think all of these points, they really come from lack of experience with the game. And as I said, I would have agreed with most of these after I played the game for a few hours. I mean, I laughed with Kiri about stuff like Reaper. We were like, wow, Reaper's OP. This is ridiculous. He's killing everyone in close range. But then when you start to think like Kiri was playing Reinhardt, Reaper's anti-tank, so Reaper should be killing Kiri. And I was playing like Tracer and people like that, and I was trying to fight him in close combat. Now, that sounds completely stupid to me. Why would you, like, as a Tracer, why would you attempt to fight Reaper in close combat? He only needs to shoot you like once and you're dead. And you can't really do that much damage to him. I mean, it's just... It beggars belief when you think about it. But this is a situation a lot of people find themselves in, where they think things are broken, need to be changed. I've played the game for a few hours. I can't play the hero I want to play. We're getting destroyed. What they're not doing is thinking, what can I do to change this game? What character can I play which is going to change the dynamic and force the enemy team to do something? Say, I'll just leave you with this one example. So let's say we're on Hanamura again and we're on the first point. Oh no, let's say we're on... no, okay, let's go Hanamura. And... You're on the first point, you're on attack, you want to get through those the door, right, to get into the first little temple area to capture it, where the big bell is. You're Roadhog, and the rest of your team are a mixture between assault characters and defense characters and whatever. You might have a Lucio or something, but you're Roadhog. You're not... Roadhog's not too good for getting through that door. He can be, you know, if the team all decide to rush in at the same time or something. But who would be better in that situation? If after a minute or a minute and a half, you can't really get through the door and you're just seeing your team killed and you're stalling. That means the defense is winning the game quite comprehensively. What can you do to change this? Well, maybe a Reinhardt would be quite good, because you can put your shield up in the door and your DPS guys can fire through the door at all the targets in there and push people away, and then you can move in. Maybe a Winston would be good as well. That's the kind of mentality you've got to get yourself in. And I wanted to make the video to just sort of hopefully explain to people that this game is brilliant, and you need to think how the game has been designed. It is a game about countering the enemy based off their picks and tactics. It is not a game about playing what you want and just forcing that character through and then moaning because you lose, because you haven't taken part in what the team are doing, or you haven't done anything to alter the game. Because as I said, outright killing people, it does help, but it's not going to win you the game. You need to play the objectives, and if you don't do that, you're just not going to get anywhere. Alright guys, so the beta weekend has just hit, and I want to know what you think about the game if you've played you played it, because I know a lot. I've spoke to people and they've been like, "Oh wow, I was really getting into the game, then suddenly my access has dropped," which I can understand is kind of disappointing, and I can understand it, even though I do have access to the beta all the time, you know. But I get that. It is a game where you want to play and you want to keep coming back and playing it. I've played the game for over 100 hours. Me and Kiri together, the guys on the channel, we've played the game for like 160, 170, 180 hours or something ridiculous combined. We still want to keep coming back for more, and we still find new things, new like little synergies that work quite well. Like one we found was Zyra and Soldier 76. Those two operate quite well as a little team, because Soldier can heal Zyra and Zyra can give him a shield and shield herself, so they can both be immune to damage, move out, do damage, but also be getting healed off Soldiers a bit. And it's like, there's all these little like intricacies the game's got, and it's ridiculous. I mean, really, I can't wait to see more stuff with the game and how the game develops. And I think what Blizzard have got here is a game which is, well, quite frankly, it's fantastic, and I think it's just got so much life in it, provided they can get the esports spectator tool down and all of that stuff. I think it'll have a very strong esports scene as well. And yeah, anyway guys, let me know what you think about the game if you played in the beta weekend. I've been Stylosa, this is Unit Lost. If you enjoy the Overwatch content, like the video, give it a favourite, or whatever the hell you do on YouTube. Leave a comment, as I say, and you can follow me on Twitter as well, which is @UnitLostGaming. And I do like talking to people about Overwatch on Twitter, so by all means send me a tweet. Guys, I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo.